right, so today we're diving into something a little different. This YouTube video we found, it's making some pretty big promises, you know?
Yeah, I saw that. $960 a day. That definitely got my attention.
Right, and all from selling ebooks on Google Books. But the catch, it's all supposed to be done with AI. So naturally, we had to take a closer look, see if there's any substance to these infinite money glitch claims. I think that's what the YouTuber called it, right?
Yeah, Mr. Race, I think that was his name. He's pretty adamant that Google Books is like the untapped gold mine compared to Amazon KDP. Says it's way less saturated so new authors can actually get seen.
Interesting. Okay, so less competition, that's one piece of the puzzle. But how's he actually churning out these ebooks? Did he mention a process?
Oh, yeah, he lays it all out. Step one, apparently, is to ride the trend wave. He's all about Google Trends, Google News, finding what people are already searching for.
Makes sense in theory. So like, if the Olympics are coming up, you whip up an ebook about that.
Exactly, or, whatever the hot new tech is. He even used Chat GPT as an example, which is kind of funny because that's where the AI part really kicks in.
Oh, right. So he's not, like, writing these books himself.
Nope. He's a big proponent of those Chat GPT Ebook Creator tools. Just feed it a topic and boom, instant book. Or at least that's the gist of it. He did say something about editing and adding disclaimers.
Disclaimers, huh? So is he at least acknowledging that a machine wrote the book? I mean, that's got to raise some ethical questions, right? Having AI as the author, I mean.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the quality? Can an AI really write something engaging and informative? Those are things we should definitely unpack.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole business model. He's selling these ebooks for $9.99 a pop, hoping to make it up in volume. But is that really sustainable?
A lot to consider there, too. Low price, high volume. Does that undervalue the work? Especially if it's mostly AI generated anyway.
Speaking of specific ebooks, did you catch that Chat GPT for seniors idea? That one really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting niche, to say the least. Does that audience even exist? And how do you market to them? There's a lot of questions there.
Okay, so we've got AI authorship, content quality, business models, niche markets. Looks like we've got a lot to dig into. Where do we even start?
Well, I think we got to start with this whole AI writing thing. Like, is it really just push a button, get a book? Because Mr. Reese made it sound pretty hands-off.
Yeah, that's what kind of worries me. Sure, AI can probably crank out words quickly, but can it actually make something good? You know, something that people would want to read, something that's accurate?
Right. There's got to be a difference between, like, a blog post and a whole ebook. And what about plagiarism? Can these AI tools even tell if they're accidentally copying stuff?
Good point. I mean, I've played around with those AI writing tools. They're pretty impressive, but they definitely need a human touch, you know? Someone to fact check, make sure it flows well, add some personality.
Totally agree. It's more like AI as a helper, not the main writer. The human is still calling the shots, making sure it's actually good.
Okay, so AI is a collaborator, not a replacement. I can get behind that. But let's go back to that niche example. Chat GPT for seniors. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
I know, right? It sounds kind of counterintuitive, like seniors and cutting-edge AI. But then again, I know plenty of older folks who are super tech savvy. They're on Facebook, they're ordering groceries online.
True. My grandma even has a smartphone. But does that mean they're ready to dive into the world of ChatGPT? And even if they are, how do you even get their attention?
Yeah, marketing to that demographic is a whole other beast. You probably wouldn't just slap up a banner ad and call it a day. You'd need to really understand their needs and interests.
So maybe focus on how ChatGPT can make their lives easier, like helping them stay connected with family, learn new things, stuff like that.
Exactly. It's got to be about the benefits, not just the tech itself. How can ChatGPT actually improve their lives? That's the message that'll resonate.
Makes sense. Okay, now for the big question.
Yeah.
The money. $960 a day. Come on, that's got to be exaggerated, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical about that figure. It's possible to make money with ebooks, for sure, but it takes work, it takes strategy, and it definitely takes time.
So maybe not $960 a day, but could there be a decent income stream from ebooks, especially if you're smart about using AI?
Oh, definitely. It's all about having realistic expectations, understanding your market, and figuring out a pricing strategy that works for you, not just blindly copying what someone else is doing.
Speaking of pricing, he was really pushing that $9.99 price point, high volume, low price. But does that actually add up?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On one hand, a low price can attract more buyers, but you got to sell a ton to actually make a profit,
Right.
especially after platform fees and all that.
And honestly, it feels kind of disrespectful to the work, you
Yeah.
know? Like if you're putting in the effort to edit and polish those AI-generated chapters, shouldn't your book be worth more than a cup of coffee?
Totally. It's a balancing act for sure. You got to find a price that's fair to you and still appealing to readers. Maybe experiment a little, see what works best for your niche.
All right, so we've talked about the limits of AI, the challenges of niche marketing, and the realities of ebook pricing. Anything else we should cover before we move on?
We talked about how Mr. Race was so sure Google Books was the better platform, less saturated, more opportunities. But is that really true?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon KDP is the 800-pound gorilla in the room,
Right.
right? It's where everyone seems to go for self-publishing. So can Google Books really compete?
It's definitely the underdog, no doubt. But it's not like Google Books is some tiny operation either. Mr. Reese even mentioned they have something like 3 billion users. That's a lot of eyeballs.
3 billion. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
pretty huge potential audience. But doesn't Amazon have a global reach too?
Oh, for sure they do. But think about it this way. When you're looking for a new book to read, where do you go first?
Good point. If I'm being honest, I usually just browse Amazon's recommendations or search for something specific. I don't really think of it as a place to discover new authors.
Exactly. That's where Google Books might have an edge. It's all tied into Google search, right? So someone could be researching a topic completely unrelated to books, and bam, your ebook pops up in the results.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's like getting free advertising just by being on the platform. You're
Hmm.
tapping into a whole different audience.
Right. And that can be a game changer, especially for authors who are just starting out. They don't have to fight through all the noise on Amazon to get noticed.
Okay, so Google Books might be less crowded, easier to get discovered. But what about the AI factor? Are we going to see a flood of AI-generated ebooks on Google Books too?
Hard to say for sure. I mean, the truth is, AI is changing the whole publishing landscape. Whether it's Amazon, Google Books, whatever, we're going to see more and more AI content everywhere.
So it's not really about picking the right platform. It's more about adapting to this new reality,
Mm.
figuring out how to use AI effectively
Mm.
without, losing the human touch.
Exactly. It's like AI is a tool, a powerful tool, but it's still just a tool. It's up to us to use it responsibly and ethically.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, let's bring it back to our listeners. What are the key takeaways here? What should they keep in mind as they navigate this whole AI and self-publishing world?
First off, don't believe the hype. Anyone promising overnight riches or easy money with AI, that's a red flag. Building a successful business takes time, it takes work, whether you're using AI or not.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
Right. Second, AI can be helpful, but it's not a substitute for human creativity and critical thinking. Use it to streamline your process, sure, but don't let it take over completely.
It's all about finding that balance, using AI to your advantage, but still putting your own unique stamp on your work.
And lastly, never forget about quality. No matter what platform you're on, what tools you're using, it's the quality of your content that'll make you stand out. Create something valuable, something people actually want to read, and the rest will follow.
Great advice.
Yeah.
I think this deep dive has been really eye-opening. We've covered a lot, from the potential of AI, the pros and cons of different platforms, the ethical considerations, and the importance of quality.
Hopefully it's given our listeners some food for thought and maybe even inspired them to try out some of these AI tools, see what they can do.
Absolutely. The best way to learn is by doing, right? So experiment, explore, and see where this AI journey takes you.
Just remember to stay true to yourself and your vision along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for